Hey guys, welcome to week 5, module 5 of program development and grants. Just wanted to touch base with you guys. We're almost at the finish line. This is the last week of class. The major thing due this week is your proposal assignment. You will be putting together all of the stuff that you have worked on through your discussions. So I'm hoping the discussions have been helpful in helping you work through some issues with your proposal and developing those sections of the proposal. Be sure, and I know I mentioned this in an announcement earlier, to be sure to be looking at that RFP that's under the proposal tab in Blackboard. It's very detailed as to how the proposal needs to be submitted, and this is very typical of what you'll find with a granting agency. Okay, now this is one we just made up, so it's fictional, but it is very similar to what you'd find with a foundation. Okay, all right, so with that in mind, I did some clarification to the content in the proposal folder because there was some confusion about what was due. So the main parts of the proposal that you'll be responsible for turning in are the cover sheet, and the budget form and the budget narrative. So this is the budget form is kind of like a spreadsheet showing all the numbers, and the budget narrative is explaining those numbers. Rule of thumb for your budget narrative is that someone should be able to read your narrative and create that budget, like on a spreadsheet of your budget by just reading your narrative. So it should explain all of it. Okay, so like if you're asking for travel and you ask $2,000 for travel, well, how did you get to $2,000? Is that for one person going? Is it for two people going? Is it for hotel? Is it for mileage? What's it for? So do you explain that in your budget narrative? Okay. Those forms, the cover sheet, the budget form, and the budget narrative form are all found under the proposal tab under those forms. I think it's applicant forms. So it's all in there in one document, so you have it all together. So you can just plug in your stuff, okay? The cover sheet will be filled out with the information from your agency that you're using for this project, okay? Also required for this is your abstract, the small abstract of your description of your program. So that is a requirement to be turned in with your proposal. Okay, it's 125 words or less. Now keep in mind, that's why I want you to really read the RFP, because there are word limits on there. So be sure not to exceed your word limits, because a lot of times agencies give you a number of word limits. They might give you page limits. So it's very important that you stay within the boundaries that are provided. These are, back when I said, your guidelines are like the Holy Grail. I mean, you really have to follow them word for word. So what I always do with guidelines, because I do this for a living, so I take my guidelines and I highlight them, I tab them, so for important information I need to know when I'm submitting the grant, what's required, I have a color coding system, whatever works for you, so you know what all is required, but be sure to be thorough with that RFP, okay? The last section that is required is the written narrative. So there's 5 things, cover sheet, budget form, budget narrative, abstract, and then your written narrative. So your written narrative consists of several different parts which are mentioned in your RFP. There's the capability statement, need and problem statement, and the overall project narrative. So it breaks it down to into 3 parts, or really 4 parts, because the abstract can be included in this narrative also. But it includes your logic model. It includes all those that information that we've been learning about over the course of this summer term. So be sure to look at it, and it specifies exactly what should be contained in each section. So take a really hard look at that RFP. So that's going to be the focus for this week. There's also some reading indicated in there that may help with putting everything together. It's chapter 11 and appendix A of the book, which I think hopefully you'll find helpful in submission. Now when you go to submit your proposal, there's a proposal submission portal under the proposal tab in Blackboard. Okay, So it won't be submitted in Module 5. It'll be in that proposal tab, okay? And you submit it all as one document. So you'll combine them all together into one document, okay? So if you have to cut and paste it all into one document, whatever. I've also put some information in there in Module 5 about how to insert a single page in landscape mode, because you may have a page, like sometimes budgets are in landscape mode where they're bigger this way instead of the regular up and down like a normal sheet of paper, like say this, instead of this it's more like this. But you can make them all integrate, and so as the reader goes down through reading it, it'll just show that page this way, and then the rest of them will be this way. So that video in Blackboard teaches you how to do that. It's really simple. So if you have that issue, hopefully you'll find that helpful. Also, be sure, when you're doing your needs statement, your capability statement, things like that, and you refer to sources, be sure they are cited in full APA format with in-text citations and proper citations at the end, okay? So be sure you're addressing all of that, in your paper, because you want to make sure that you're reflecting your credible sources for your information. So if you're using like statistical data on the geographic area that you're applying for, be sure to integrate those citations, because that is part of your grade also, okay? All right, so there is no discussion for this week. Yay, I know you guys are not upset. You don't have to do another discussion. But the overall proposal is due on June 13th, which is Wednesday. And late submission deadline is June 14th, which is the next day at 11:59 p.m. And then our semester is over by Friday. So I'm giving you guys those assignments not due exactly at the end, so I can have enough time to grade them, because grades are due the next Tuesday, I think. So I have to have enough time to look at all those proposals. But in the meantime, if you have questions, please feel free to contact me. I know I will be out of the office starting after today. I will be out of the office, and so just be sure and email me. I will be checking email. I'll try to get back with you, and if you need to schedule some time, I'll do my best, but I will be on the road, so it may be a little bit difficult trying to make some time, but we'll do our best to try to talk about your issue, okay? So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Be sure and get those proposals submitted and your late assignments in this week, because I won't accept anything after that June 14th deadline, okay? All right, so you guys have been a wonderful class. I really enjoyed getting to know you guys, and hopefully you learned a few things about grants. Just keep in mind, I know it's a lot of information in 5 weeks, but learning about grants doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process. There are still things I learn all the time, and I've been doing this for about 12 years. It is an evolving process, and the more you do, the better you get at it. So if you're ready to take a stab at your first grant after this class, I encourage you to do so. Work with your agency, and I'm sure they'd be happy for you to do that. And if I can be of any assistance in the future, please just let me know. Don't hesitate to reach out and contact me, and if I can't help you, I will put you in contact with someone who can. I appreciate you guys taking time and listening to me ramble on every week. You guys have a great rest of your summer, or good luck in summer 2 classes, and you all take care. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.